The camera glides slowly over the roaring crowd. In the stadium, every breath is held, every eye locked on a single moment. We are about to witness the biggest shock in World Cup history. The fate of the favorite team flips in an instant. What unfolds on the pitch is not just a game, but a seismic rupture in the spirit of football itself. The screams of the fans, the frozen expressions of the players, and the commentators' trembling voice. Together, they create a shockwave that will be etched into history. This is the moment that forever redefined the World Cup. Today, as we talk about the biggest shocks in World Cup history, we won't simply be describing whether a ball crossed the goal line or not. We will explore the immense arrogance felt by millions in the same instant, the deep guilt that followed, and the darkest chambers of human psychology. The date is July 16, 1950. Inside the colossal Maracanazo Stadium in Rio de Janeiro, nearly 200,000 people are holding their breath. It's the final game of the World Cup, and Brazil only needs a tie to become champions. Before kickoff, carnivals have already started in the city, and newspapers are printed with the morning headline, "Brazil is the champion." In fact, minutes before kickoff, the mayor of Rio takes the microphone and speaks to the players in front of the whole world. "I salute you as victors, whom millions of compatriots will hail as champions in just a few hours." This is the exact definition of what psychology calls hubris, the overconfidence trap. A dangerous illusion born from completely ignoring the opponent, Uruguay. We saw a similar hubris trap in recent history, remember? In the 2022 World Cup, when Messi's Argentina took the lead against Saudi Arabia, everyone expected a blowout. The players on the pitch probably thought, it's over. But the human mind drops its guard the moment it believes success is guaranteed, and that's exactly where the danger begins. Let's go back to that massive stadium in 1950. The atmosphere in the stands was so overwhelming that a Uruguayan player named Julio Perez wet himself during the national anthems due to intense anxiety and stress. Imagine a fragile human soul crushed under the roar of 200,000 people. But right at that moment, Uruguay's captain, Obdulio Varela, steps forward. Varela sees the pure fear in his teammates' eyes and offers them a psychological shield, rather than just tactical advice. He reminds them that the noise outside belongs to strangers, and on the pitch, it's just 11 men against 11 men. In psychology, we call this narrowing the focus, shutting out all external pressure to focus only on the small area you can control. The match begins, and as expected, Brazil takes the lead early in the second half. The stadium erupts, and everyone starts celebrating. However, Uruguay does not give up. As the minutes tick away, something strange happens to the Brazilian team. The hunger of an opponent who has nothing to lose slowly eats away at the host's relaxed, arrogant mindset. And the breaking point arrives. Uruguay scores the equalizer. At that exact moment, a profound silence wraps around the stadium, an event history would call the Maracanazo. Psychologically, this silence is much heavier than any physical noise. The players' legs start shaking, and their minds go cloudy, because what was deemed impossible to lose is slipping through their fingers. With just 11 minutes left on the clock, Uruguay scores again, making it 2-1. Brazil is eliminated, crushed under the weight of the massive concrete structure they built themselves. People are crying in the stands, heart attacks occur, and the streets suddenly turn into a silent graveyard. This is a massive collective trauma, an entire society's joy vanishing in a single second. And do you know what happens next? To ease the pain of this massive disaster, society immediately looks for a scapegoat. Because the human mind cannot blame failure on abstract concepts, it needs a concrete face to accuse. And that victim becomes Brazil's black goalkeeper, Moser Barbosa. Despite being named the best goalkeeper of the tournament, he is forced to live like a traitor for the rest of his life because of that final goal. Years later, Barbosa recalled a mother pointing at him in a market and telling her child, "Look, son, that's the man who made all of Brazil cry." Even in 1994, when he wanted to visit the national team camp, he was denied entry because his presence was feared to be a jinx. This is the most brutal side of human psychology, forcing the person we see as weakest to pay the price for the hubris we created. Yet, out of this immense darkness, a tiny light emerges years later that would change the world. Hundreds of miles away from Rio that day, a former footballer father is listening to the match on the radio, crying his eyes out. Seeing his father cry for the first time, his 9-year-old son hugs him and makes a promise. "Don't cry, Dad, I will win that World Cup for you." Do you know the name of that little boy? Pelé. In the 1958 FIFA World Cup final, Brazil defeated the host nation Sweden to claim their first ever world championship, and the 17-year-old rising star, Pelé, cemented his place in history by scoring 2 goals. Playing in front of nearly 52,000 spectators, Pelé brought pure joy to his country and teammates with his goals. Only 8 years later, in 1958, that little boy keeps his promise and wins Brazil its first World Cup. This is exactly what football psychology is all about. That destructive social pressure, which creates a scapegoat, can simultaneously transform into the driving force and deep motivation that gives birth to the greatest legend in history. Today, we stand on the brink of the 2026 World Cup. The massive stage of football is being set once again, and hundreds of athletes from all over the world are preparing to face the biggest pressure of their lives. Perhaps in this tournament, we will witness new shocks, see new scapegoats blamed, or watch the birth of new legends. Before this immense excitement begins, we need to leave a few small reminders in the minds of those who see football as just a game. If only we could set aside colors, jerseys, and nationalities, and remember that every athlete stepping onto that green pitch is a fragile human being just like us. If only, instead of being blinded by the hubris of winning, we could respect the heavy psychology of losing that helps a human grow. I know that the entire world uniting under a single common sense is a romantic dream that may never come true. But at least we, the ones in front of this screen, can stop viewing football players as mere gladiators. Remember, behind those billionaire stars hides a human soul whose entire life could be ruined by a single mistake like Barbosa, or who is trying to wipe away their father's tears like a young Pelé. So, have you ever lost something in your life that you took completely for granted, and then looked for someone else to blame? Or did that massive shock turn you into something stronger? I am truly curious to hear your thoughts. Please share them with me in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video with your loved ones. See you in the next story.